Okay, so I said that the solid materials of Earth are um, the minerals and rocks, and I also bring up crystals a lot. So let's talk about what are crystals. Crystals are just minerals that have a defined shape that are allowed to grow into the shape that they want to grow into. So remember we talked about minerals have to have crystalline structures. If you zoom in, there's a definite shape at an atomic level. Well, if you zoom out and allow that atomic repeated pattern to repeat over and over and over again, then the shape it forms is also going to be a defined shape, right? Just at a macro scale. So what we call a crystal is a mineral that's allowed to create that overall defined shape. But a lot of minerals aren't actually able to do that as they grow because there's not enough space for them to grow. So they create these irregular patterns, these irregular shapes as they're squished into rocks. Now, these are still technically crystals, right? But they just don't have that beautiful shape that they would have if they were allowed to actually grow. Okay? All right, so where can you find these big, beautiful crystals? Right. Well, we often find them in veins. These are lenticular bodies that cut across the bedrock. Basically, think of having a rock. That rock gets split somehow, there's a crack in it, and then those crystals can form in that open space. The open space is what we call vug or vugs. And then the crystals themselves grow, reduce that open space. So here's an example of a beautiful opal vein, a quartz vein. Now, if the crystals, rather than growing into itself and creating one lenticular, like linear body, if instead those crystals are able to keep their shape and they get really, really big in those bugs and those openings, we call those pegmatites. So these are really, really coarse-grained igneous rocks that are found in dikes and lenses and veins. So here's a pegmatite of quartz. Here's a pegmatite. It looks like something close to granite. So notice we've been talking a lot about the natural crystal shape if that crystal is able to form the shape that it really wants to form. So we need to somehow talk about, well, what do we call a crystal that's in its right shape? And what do we call a crystal that really didn't have room to grow? So if the crystal is perfect, we call that euhedral. If it's nowhere near having its natural crystal shape, we call that anhedral. And if it's kind of in the middle, right, we call that subhedral. So euhedral, subhedral, and anhedral to describe the crystal shape.